Here's all the money going from the Housing Australia Future Fund, the $10 billion being splashed around to create extra supply of affordable housing across the lucky country. We're going to explore which projects were successful in the first round, what type of properties they were, which developers have the formula, and what communities missed out. And see what lessons can be transferred to help affordable housing providers be successful in their 2025 application round. The Housing Australia Future Fund is targeting to do 30,000 homes over the next 5 years. 22nd of March 2024, applications for the first round closed. They got applications of state and community housing providers prepared to build up to 50,000 dwellings. Then in September 2024, that got narrowed down to 13,700 preferred applicants. And it's these 13,700 that we'll get into the data today. As we throw this into our data system, you can see the geographic dispersion around the country. Now, white is preferred, yellow is approved. And you can see Housing Australia's got a huge amount of work getting these 11,000 preferred into the approved pile in a hurry. The biggest winner, community-wise, was Launceston. It's only the second largest town in Tasmania, but it got a larger allocation than the entirety of the Northern Territory. Loreto Community Housing was responsible for a large amount of the successful applications within Launceston. Built a big out for themselves, about 3,000 homes under management currently. They're going to get 410 through this scheme, so about a 12-13% increase in their portfolio. Topographies of all sorts were selected. Most were apartment buildings between 20 to 100 apartments. At the larger end, it was around 500 to 300 with the largest.
Now, that being said, there were certainly a lot more apartments approved. Of the buildings that we could tell and break down, around 90% were apartments. The majority of that being 1 and 2 bedroomers with the occasional studio and 3 bedroomer. Of the standalone houses that were selected, they were often speciality disability accommodation.
The HAFF also showed a willingness to back master plans with more than one applicant. So here we're seeing 2 adjoining sites, one held by City West, the other by St George's. Separate applications, but both of them making it through to preferred status. In both buildings, we're seeing a hard, durable, low-maintenance facades because these parties are going to want to manage these for the long term. With City West, we're seeing multiple towers placed in there to really help that light penetration and access to the rooms,
with a number of responses for 1 and 2 bedroom apartments.
Whereas at St George's, you're seeing a much more articulate single floor plate design to ensure strong light, with the building being sympathetic to the height of those around it. And if you think that's bedazzling, you should see the solar modelling. Leaving inner Sydney for a moment and going to Arama's project here, beautiful internal access, no stairs, wet bathroom, highly accessible, low bench tops, open plan, hardware and floors, and I'm pretty sure this book on the table says Eat, Drink, Map, which is what we're all about. Now, before I start telling you there's big holes in the housing map and that CHPs should start to target for the next round, let's layer in population as we've done in green here, because there are parts of Australia which, suffice to say, are sparsely populated, and we need to match the houses to where people actually want to live. So leveraging this data lens, we're starting to look at New South Wales here, and you're seeing places like Griffith, Wagga, Lithgow, Dubbo, Orange, Mudgee, great places of wine, but very little HAFF allocation. But maybe those areas don't need it, Steve. You know, wealthy farmers, agriculture is a backbone of the economy. Well, simply we just layer in the housing stress layer to our data system. And you can see here, it only gets really bright when you're getting over 30% of total household income going to rent, and the brightest at about 37%. But at risk of telling you something you already know, there's areas of stress all over the country. Looking sort of Ipswich to Toowoomba, there's nothing sitting in there in an area of no need. Also, looking further north, another potential void which would be good to see CHPs look to target for next round is that gap between the beautiful Sunshine Coast and Cairns. All those areas around Townsville, Mackay, you can see all the purple dots of population and all the green area, bluey green areas of high rental payments, but very few HAFF allocations. Now, before we get too idealistic, we do have to acknowledge that it's very hard to get developments to stack up in these regions, particularly if you're looking at apartment stock. That being said, if opportunities were to open up, you'd think the HAFF would be very open to them. Speaking of weightings and allocations, the 3 most successful parties were Assemble, who were backed by Hester and Australian Super. Now, they got 19.7% of the approvals. Now, this doesn't mean they're getting circa 20% of the funding, rather they're going to deliver circa 20% of the housing. In fact, they may have been asking for less funding than anyone else, and that's why they were so successful. Second up, you got the Western Australia Land Authority. They've got projects all over the state. In fact, they're delivering 90% of the HAFF housing within Western Australia. Their largest, most complex, is the Subiaco Stadium. It's getting a new master plan, and a bit of affordable housing is in that mix. The old home of the Weagles. Yeah, looks like old Hawks' old stomping grounds about to become affordable housing. Then in third place, you got Evolve Housing, who are stalwarts of Western Sydney. And again, drop-in houses in Penrith, the furthest out west of Western Sydney. However, they also picked up some big projects in Victoria as they're expanding their footprint. We've got a heap more insights like this. Look, if you're a community housing provider looking to look at the 25 round, reach out. We'd love to share more insights.
And at the end of the day, this fund is all about making sure that we build.
Thank you for watching, and feel free to check out some of our other videos.